All right, so quick check for spark. Test light is just sitting on our coil there. I'm going to crank that over and you'll see we've got spark. So we're not worried about the ECU cutting off the ignition system or anything like that at this stage. Let's go for the fuel side. All right, next quick check. We've got a fuse jumper across our fuel pump pins. Amp clamp is set to, what are we set to? 20 amps DC. So if I loop that around, about 14 amps going through that pump circuit. That's a bit much on a little pump like this. Normally I'd sort of expect 6 to 7 amps. So what I might do now, it still doesn't start with the fuel pump circuit bridged out, and this isn't easy for me to get a fuel line off either. It's probably actually going to be easy to get the back seat off. Got to get the bolts out under here. It's a hard line all the way down to here. So what I'll probably do now is get the scope hooked up around that jumper wire I've got in there, see what the brushes of the pump look like, see if it's actually functioning, and go from there. All right, so with that pump circuit bridged out and our low amp clamp around it, we've got a steady 11 amp draw, and this is basically like our pump motor waveform. All right, so I actually have, believe it or not, a decent fuel pump waveform for a Hyundai Getz, which is the same as this little bugger. We should be looking at max 7 or 8 amps of draw on that fuel pump. 12 amps too much. What I've done now is, all right, so stop. What we've got here now, like I said, that current draw is my main concern from the fuel pump, and it doesn't look like it's pumping. So getting under here, I haven't taken the seats bolts out, pull this cover off. First thing we see, this doesn't look great. As you can see, we've got some little wire ties there. Trying to get this plug off, the plug's actually stuck on, and as you can see, we have, I'm just going to yank it because it's busted anyway, completely melted pump wiring. Now it looks like some buggers actually tried to solder, I don't know what they've done, someone's tried to solder that wire on there, but it's melted anyway. This is going to need a new plug for the pump and sender unit, and it's going to need a new pump and sender unit to get it sorted. All right, back in the back of the Elantra, this is definitely someone's crap job. If you can see in there, someone's actually soldered that wire onto that pin. Our ground wire's completely broken off, so that 12 amp draw was actually the short in this connector. So all this is going to have to get sorted. I'm going to have to source a new plug. I'm going to have to source a new pump as well. Get this lock ring off, get the pump replaced, cut this off, replace the plug, and hopefully she fires up from there. So 2 issues in one. Colours immobilised, that's sorted. Now we're looking at fuel pump wiring.